Here in 2023, I am a massive theme park and roller coaster enthusiast. I have been to parks all over the world to ride some of the world's most elite roller coasters, experience some of the most fantastic immersive dark rides with magical themed experiences, great immersion. I've been to children's parks to go and get those all important coaster credits. I've ridden rides that I'm far too scared to ride. I've just experienced so many great things. However, this begs the question, which I hope some of you guys are interested in, and I'd actually be interested to hear your experiences down below in the comment section below, of how did I actually become a roller coaster and theme park enthusiast. Everyone has their own fantastic and unique experiences with this community, and it's one of the best reasons why I've always said about creating a YouTube channel. I love talking to you guys in the comment section down below on all of my videos, on your thoughts and feedback, and I'd actually be really interested to see how you guys all became enthusiasts, or what is your local park, what memories do you have of rides as children, or what was your first roller coaster, how many coaster credits do you guys all have. These are all things which I'd love to be seen down below in the comment section below, and I'd just like this to become a bit of a community video talking about your experiences, your favorite rides, and all of this down in the comment section below. A lovely little discussion we can have. So let's get into today's video about why I became a roller coaster and theme park enthusiast. If you do enjoy today's video, please do give it a like. It massively helps out the channel. Subscribe to Coasternaut for more videos like this in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and let's get into today's video. So my earliest memories of theme parks actually aren't going to theme parks. That might sound a bit weird, but my earliest memories of theme parks actually is from video games. I've always, aside from theme parks, been a massive gamer. I love games. I played Nintendo 64 with my dad when I was growing up, and one of the first games I actually remember getting was on the PC, and this was actually Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. This was the complete collection. For anyone that knows anything about video games or theme park video games, this is regarded as one of the best theme park video games anywhere out there. Fantastic for its time as well. It had such a massive collection of not just roller coasters, but any form of ride. You could create water parks in there. There was animal shows in the DLCs as well. There was Arrow coasters in there was early B&M coasters in there, and I just remember creating some of the wackiest coasters in the world. Arrow hyper coasters that featured 10 inversions and things like this, pipeline coasters from Togo, all of these weird and wacky things. I remember creating Intamin launch coasters, accelerator coasters, and I'd never seen a launch coaster in real life, so I didn't even think half of these things were real. I just thought these were crazy, and I was building the biggest and most extreme crazy parks that anyone had ever seen. And this always got me interested in. And then I remember, obviously still being a young kid at this point, getting taken to local theme parks here in the UK that I'm sure the wider audience might never have heard of, but please let me know down below if you've been a local to the UK, and if you've been to any of these parks that I'm about to say. I went to Twin Lakes and Wicksteed. These are very, very small family theme parks here in the UK, but these were my first ever coasters, first ever rides. I remember, Wicksteed especially had I think it's now called Dinosaur Valley, but it was a small Pinfari coaster at the bottom. I think they had a small Zera Ladybird coaster as well, and these were the only two coasters at the park at the time. But they had go-karts there, fantastic water rides, and like I say, really small family rides and attractions. And it was just pay per ride at the time. Actually, I think when I first went, Twin Lakes, that was my first experience of a powered coaster. They had a Buffalo coaster when I was there, and I think they also had a wacky worm. So that was sort of my very first coaster credits, and this really, combined with my love of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 at the time, really actually got me interested in theme parks. And I always kept asking my parents to go back, and I was just going to all of these little family theme parks here in the UK until I think it was 2008. I went to Florida for the very first time. We went to all the Disney parks, and this was just a whole new thing. This introduced me to theming for the first time, not just different rides and everything. And I just remember going to all of the different parks and just loving rides like Big Thunder Mountain. I loved it at the time. Splash Mountain was incredible. Space Mountain, all the different mountains at Magic Kingdom. These were some of my favorite coasters anywhere in the world at that point. And at this point, this got me into sort of like early stages of YouTube and watching POVs online of all these different roller coasters from across the world. I remember watching things like the King Dakar POV when that got built. And this then started, once I got back from that trip, got me interested in parks closer to home. And at this point, I was looking into all the POVs from Alton Towers and Thorpe Park, and all of these different parks we had in the UK. And I then remember the first sort of mega park I went to, I say mega park, the first sort of really large theme park I went to here in the UK was Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And, this got me into sort of some of the bigger coasters. At this point, I still wasn't brave enough to ride some of the big ones, or literally the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. But it got me into proper thrill coasters at that point, and I wasn't really playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 anymore at this age. I was sort of a bit older, maybe 12, 13, but I was starting to ride some really big coasters. And then it wasn't that I ever fell out of love with theme parks and coasters and everything, but I wasn't ever like majorly interested in it through my teenage years. And I went to Alton Towers in this time, went to Thorpe Park at this time, mainly on like school trips and stuff with my friends. But it wasn't something like a true enthusiast passion, and that was actually until the pandemic lockdown in 2020 hit. Obviously, when the world came crashing down, we all got very bored. We were all locked inside. We didn't really have much to do, and I wasn't even purposely trying to get back into roller coasters and theme parks, but I was just trying to think of something to do, and I started getting myself back into Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 and Planet Coaster. These were just things that I did to keep me busy, and again, similar to when I was a very young kid, after playing these games for a long time and creating my crazy creations, I just ended up back on YouTube and watching all of the new roller coasters that have been built since I was a kid, and looking around the world at all of these fantastic different rides. I learned a lot about the Cedar Fair chain and Six Flags chains at this time. I hadn't ever heard or really been familiar with these chains at the time. I just liked to focus on the rides, but then this is where it became, rather than just looking at the rides and different attractions and POVs, this is where I actually got really interested in the backstories and the themings and the actual business side of things, and speculation about new coasters, history, and learning about defunct rides or rides that never got built at all of these parks, the different rivalries between the chains and everything, the financial stability of the chains, and what new coasters are realistic for one chain but not another, all these crazy coasters that we see in China, how Vekoma went from being one of the worst manufacturers in the world to creating some of the best coasters we've ever seen, the rise of coaster manufacturers like RMC and the downfall of things like Arrow. I just love the whole world of roller coasters and theme parks now, and for as bad as the pandemic was, and obviously a dreadful time for the world, this really did reignite my passion for theme parks. And once the world opened up again, it made it sort of goal and ambition for me to enjoy life whilst we've got it. And now I just always want to, whenever I have the free time, travel the world to be going to all of these different theme parks across the world. Since the pandemic has reopened, I've been to Poland to go to Legendia and Energylandia, been on trips to Germany to ride for things like Phantasialand and all of their fantastic coasters, and some of the most incredibly themed coasters anywhere in the world. A really underrated park in Movie Park Germany. I've recently just been to Ferrari Land for the first time to experience Red Force, the tallest coaster in Europe, and get back on all of the fantastically themed coasters at Portaventura World. And I'm planning trips to go to Florida again in the nearby future. I really want to get over to the west coast of America. I've never to California and all of those states. I've never been to that side to ride all their fantastic coasters. I rode just this year in 2023, my first ever time in New York City. I went to obviously Coney Island, which is probably one of the best and well-known theme parks anywhere in the world, to ride the classic Cyclone coaster. It really did reignite my passion for theme park and roller coasters, and now I just absolutely love it every day. I'm watching videos on YouTube, I'm trying to plan my next trips, thinking of different video ideas to talk to you guys about, because I really do just love getting my passion out there and just having this discussion with everyone. But that is really how I became a theme park and roller coaster enthusiast. I do actually have a lot to thank for growing up as a young kid, and then also again reigniting it again with the pandemic and the lockdowns, and sort of just wanting something to do over that time when we were all stuck inside. But if this was potentially a story that any of you guys relate to, I'd love to hear if any of you guys had similar experiences. If you did go to any parks like Twin Lakes or Wicksteed, these tiny family parks in the UK, I'd love to hear that, because I imagine the wider audience, some of my American viewers or foreign viewers, have probably never heard of anything like that. But once again, I'd love to hear your stories of how you became roller coaster and theme park enthusiasts. I'm sure we all have extremely different stories, and that is a part of what makes this community so good. We all have very different experiences, different parks we've been to, different coasters we've ridden, different favourite rides, worst rides. How many coasters have we ridden? Have we been in this space for a long time? Have we just entered the enthusiast world? I'd love to hear all your feedback down below in the comment section below, and we'll have a lovely discussion about this community. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Please do give it a like if you enjoyed it. It massively helps out the channel. Subscribe to Coasternaut for more videos like this in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.